After my pop superstar ex-wife and I divorced, I took our daughter and ran. We got into a car accident. The man whose life this was died. I woke up in his body. Today, I brought my daughter to the set of a reality show. As soon as it aired, we became an overnight sensation, racking up millions of views. The host knelt down to my daughter. "Chloe, honey, why don't we see your mommy?" A little smirk played on Chloe's lips. Daddy said I popped out a rock. Meanwhile, my ex-wife, Serafina, in the middle of filming a new season of the singing competition Vocal King, practically chartered a private jet to storm the set. "If she popped out of a rock," she demanded, her voice tight, "then who am I?" Before I could answer, Chloe piped up, "Who do you think you are, lady, talking to my daddy like that? Daddy, don't sleep in. It's time for breakfast." Chloe's voice pulled me from a light doze. I turned and wrapped her in a hug. "Just a little longer, Chloe bug," I mumbled into her hair. "We're just here to collect a guest fee. No need to go all out for the cameras." The cameraman holding the rig above us broke into a cold sweat. "You can think that, but do you have to say it out loud? We're live right now." He thought, panicking. "Are you trying to get blacklisted by the network for bad-mouthing the show?" I had no idea what the cameraman was thinking. Even if I did, I would have just laughed it off. If my best friend, Mark Thorne, hadn't begged me to do this stupid show, I wouldn't have bothered. In the years since I'd woken up in this life, I'd already achieved financial freedom. My daily routine of lounging in a chair and soaking up the sun was perfectly fine by me. Chloe giggled, burying her face in my chest. "Okay," she whispered, "but only 20 more minutes. Promise." 20 minutes turned into an hour. The cameraman was about to wake us when the director's gleeful voice crackled in his earpiece. "Don't wake them. Let them sleep." The cameraman didn't dare question the order. He just grumbled to himself. "So it's a sleep stream now? I could do that." In the control room, Director Jackson Evans watched the viewer count skyrocket, a grin stretching so wide it showed off his two gold teeth. He grabbed his phone and dialed a number. "Mark, that friend of yours is a godsend. Our ratings just hit number 3 in the country." The voice on the other end was calm. "Well, you know whose friend he is? He's barely even trying, and he's already crushing it. There'll be more surprises to come." For the first time, Jackson didn't argue. He felt a pang of guilt for underestimating me before. Mark didn't seem to care, but he left the director with a final piece of advice. "You can piss off Wyatt, that's your business. But whatever you do, don't you dare mess with his daughter. If you do, not even I can save you." At 9 in the morning, I finally woke Chloe up. "Daddy, 5 more minutes," she whined. "Just 20. A smile spread across my face. I whipped the comforter off and scooped her up, spinning her around in the air. Chloe's laughter echoed like tiny silver bells. "Daddy put me down? That tickles." I stopped, setting her gently back on the bed. "All right, you win. Get dressed. I'll go make breakfast." The little girl pouted. "But I was supposed to make breakfast." Her pout quickly turned into a grin. She picked up my phone from the bed and unlocked it with a practice swipe. Scrolling through my photo album, she found what she was looking for. "Daddy, I know you like this lady," she said, her eyes twinkling. "Don't worry. Chloe will help you win her over." The woman in the picture could have been Chloe's reflection from the future. They shared the exact same eyes. It was none other than the reigning queen of pop, Serafina Vance. And Chloe, my daughter, was ours. Chloe Hayes. When Chloe didn't come out of the bedroom after a few minutes, I went to check on her. I found her staring at my phone. I leaned in, smiling. "Caught you. Playing games again, Chloe bug. It's bad for your eyes." Chloe giggled and planted a quick kiss on my cheek. "I know, Daddy. Your stubble tickles." After breakfast, a knock came at her door. "Wyatt, you certainly know how to make us wait." I turned to see Director Evans walking in with the other contestants. "Jackson, I thought today was a free activity day." "It was," he said, his expression serious. "But the show hit number 3 in the national ratings. The network wants to throw a celebratory party." He gestured around. "The production will provide all the ingredients, and our guest families can show off their culinary skills. What do you say? Are you and Chloe in?" It was a chance to teach her some hands-on skills. If we didn't participate, how would she ever learn about the hard work of life? After confirming the rules, I nodded immediately. "Of course we're in. Just one question. Is there a bonus?" Jackson beamed, though a flicker of disdain crossed his mind. "If the segment does well after it airs, I'll make sure everyone gets a nice, big bonus check." After a bit more small talk, I took Chloe outside to practice her singing. The morning is the best time for it, and I couldn't let her musical talent go to waste. Serafina and I met in college, both in the music program at USC. For her senior recital, her duet partner bailed at the last minute. Mark introduced us, and I stepped in to help. With Mark vouching for me, I figured why not. I never expected our first performance together to be so electric. Afterward, Serafina added me on social media, and we started talking more. By some twist of fate, we ended up signing with the same record label. We were both musical prodigies, and our talent was obvious from day one. But the label's resources were limited, so I voluntarily gave up some of mine for her. With the full backing of the label, Serafina made her first big push for Superstardom. It failed. Devastated and disheartened, she came to me. We got married and had Chloe. I thought our lives would finally settle down into a quiet rhythm. Then one day, her manager, Linda, showed up at my door. "Wyatt, you're just holding Serafina back," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Don't you know? The tabloids are already starting rumors that she's secretly married with a child. If that story gets confirmed, it will be a career-ending disaster." Back then, I was so deeply in love with Serafina. I couldn't stand to see her hurt. Linda slid a stack of divorce papers across the table. Without a moment's hesitation, I signed my name. 3 days later, the divorce was finalized. Our marriage was over. She tried to give me a black card with a 7-figure credit line. I refused it. That same night, I packed a bag for Chloe and me, and we disappeared. I don't know how many buses we took, how many state lines we crossed. Finally, there was a car crash. As I lay dying, my last act was to shield Chloe with my body. Remembering this, I feel a pang of sorrow for the man I used to be. After getting out of the hospital, I took Chloe and we hid away in this bustling little town. 5 years passed in a blur. 2 years ago, I saw a headline. Serafina Vance had finally become the superstar she was always meant to be. On the swings set by the playground, only butterflies land now. Chloe finished her song and threw herself into my arms. "How was that, Daddy?" I ruffled her hair. "The best, Chloe Bug. Way better than your mom." A confused look crossed her face. "Daddy, didn't you say I popped out a rock? How can I have a mom?" I quickly changed the subject. Right, Daddy forgot. The party's starting. Time for Chef Chloe to make her grand entrance." The praise worked. She forgot all about her question and ran ahead toward the dining hall, chanting, "I'm going to make a huge feast today. Lobster thermidor, beef Wellington, baked Alaska." My eyes welled up. Every dish she named was one of my favorites. I made a silent promise to eat every last bite to build up her confidence. By the time she finished her list, we had changed our clothes and arrived at the restaurant. Filming had already begun. The host, Lauren Shun, smiled into the camera. "Welcome back, everyone, to Prodigy Parents. I'm your host, Lauren. All 5 of our families have arrived, so let's check in and see what they're up to." The camera panned across the first 4 families, all busy preparing lunch. When it landed on us, the live chat exploded. "What's he doing? Where did the show find this idiot? He's letting his kid do all the cooking while he just lies there playing on his phone? Is there no justice in the world? Look at that scowl on his face. Probably lost another game. Serves him right." A few users tried to defend me, but their comments were drowned in a sea of outrage. One user even boasted they would come down to the set and teach me a lesson personally. And then someone actually replied to them. "ETA, 3 seconds. I'm on my way." My game ended. I lost. I picked up my phone and started scrolling through the live comments. I saw that last message, and the username was all too familiar. Without a second thought, I scooped Chloe in my arms and made a run for it. But it was too late. A figure stood in the doorway, blocking my path. "And where do you think you're going?" The live feed froze for a second. Am I seeing things? That looked a lot like the pop star Serafina Vance. It's not like her. It is her. I'm dead. She's perfect. My brain just short-circuited. I am wide awake now. I never thought just appearing on a reality show would bring Serafina chasing after me. "Daddy, are we still leaving?" Chloe's eyes darted back and forth, her little mind clearly spinning. Her question sent the live chat into another frenzy. The chemistry between these two is unreal. Whoa, is there something going on between the superstar and this guy? Stop trying to sell me on having a daughter. Is this a secret ad for the Census Bureau? I looked at Serafina, about to say something, but the host cut me off. She rushed over and pointed her microphone at my daughter. "Chloe, honey, how come we haven't seen your mommy?" A sly grin spread across Chloe's face. "Daddy said I popped out a rock." The superstar who had stormed the set like a hurricane stared daggers at me. "She popped out of a rock? Then who am I?" Before I could form a response, Chloe casually asked, "Who do you think you are, lady, talking to my daddy like that?" Her voice wasn't loud, but in the stunned silence of the set, everyone in the live audience heard it crystal clear. It was a primetime train wreck. The cameras were still rolling. I quickly pulled Chloe into my arms. "Keep your voice down," I whispered. "That's Serafina Vance. She's a huge star." Chloe looked straight at the camera and pouted. "A huge star? Is that supposed to be a big deal?" I clamped my hand over her mouth. She makes 8 figures a year. What do you think? The live chat was in chaos. I glanced over my shoulder and saw Serafina's face, dark as a thundercloud. Wyatt, is this how you take care of? Her words were cut off as her manager, Linda Ross, rushed in and covered her mouth. Sarah, you can't reveal your relationship. It'll destroy your career. But this time, Serafina shoved her away without a second thought. If I don't, my own daughter is going to keep calling me lady. With that, she strode toward me. Wyatt, we need to talk. I didn't refuse. I knew if we didn't clear the air now, she'd just keep coming after me. Go back to your hotel and wait, I said. I'll come find you after we finish filming. After watching Serafina leave, the celebratory luncheon officially began. Daddy, put your phone away. It's time to eat. Chloe's sweet voice melted the hearts of the online audience. In the control room, director Evans was screaming into his headset. Give me a split screen, half the feed on Wyatt and Chloe now. On camera, Chloe had prepared several exquisite dishes. They looked and smelled incredible, easily rivaling the food made by the other 4 families. The viewers in the live chat were showering her with praise. That looks amazing. I feel so inadequate compared to Chloe. Suddenly, my breakfast burrito tastes like cardboard. Look at Wyatt. He's practically drooling. That's it. I'm going home and convincing my husband we need to have a daughter. Watching the viewer numbers climb, Jackson couldn't stop grinning. Keep funneling traffic to Wyatt and Chloe's stream, and cut a highlight reel for social media now. After barking out his orders, he picked up his phone again and called Mark. Mark, my man, we're number 2 in the ratings. The voice on the other end was unimpressed. Call me when you're number 1. The line went dead. Jackson turned to his bustling crew and shouted, Keep it up, everyone. After this episode wraps, bonuses are doubled for the whole team. He hung up and muttered to himself, Wyatt, you're my lucky star. The host, Lauren Shun, acting on the director's instructions, kept trying to engage me with questions during the meal. I gave vague answers, my eyes glancing at the streaming numbers on my phone. The data looked good. I hadn't let Mark down. As soon as the party was over, I took Chloe and left. We'd barely made it out the main gate when a car screeched to a halt in front of us. The window rolled down to reveal Serafina's icy expression. Get in. I'm not giving you a chance to run away this time. I had no choice. I had to take her back to my place. My home was a secluded villa with a large garden out back. Not bad, Serafina muttered, her mood swinging like a pendulum. She'd imagined us living in a slum, struggling to get by. The reality that I was living more comfortably than her made her feel like every choice she'd ever made was wrong. She fell in love with the place instantly. I led her to a small tea pavilion in the garden. Serafina, I said, getting straight to the point, whatever you have to say, just say it. Her face twisted with anguish. Wyatt, do you have any idea what I've been through these past 5 years? You just took Chloe and disappeared. I haven't had a single peaceful night's sleep in 5 years. Her voice rose, turning into an accusation. Even though we were separated, I provided a house for you. Why did you have to leave? Hearing her accusation, my expression remained blank. If that's how you're going to frame this, then I don't think there's anything left to talk about. It wasn't my choice to leave. I remember the day after the divorce was finalized. Her manager, Linda, found me and handed me a cashier's check for $5 million. Wyatt, take this, take the girl, and disappear. Don't ever come back. I was completely baffled. Is this your idea, or Serafina's? Linda's answer was simple. Whose idea it is doesn't matter. You shouldn't be anywhere near her. You're a burden to her, don't you get it? I snatched the check from her hand and threw it back in her face. Don't you dare project your own filthy motives onto my love for Serafina. If leaving helps her career go further, I'll do it. So for her to now demand why I left, it was laughable. Serafina just looked hurt. It was you. You were the one who insisted on leaving, and now you're getting mad at me first. She started to sob, but I saw it, a flicker of cunning in her eyes. One actress, always putting on a show. Seeing Serafina cry, Chloe squeezed my hand. Daddy, don't be sad. If you don't like this lady, we can find a new one. I took her hand. You hear that? If you can't have a civil conversation, then get out. Chloe and I are all we need. I started to lead Chloe back inside to rest. Seeing this, Serafina dropped to her knees with a thud. Chloe, honey, I'm sorry I was wrong. Chloe looked at me. Daddy, she whispered. She's on her knees saying she's sorry. Should we give her another chance? Looking at my daughter's hopeful expression, I chalked it up to the unbreakable bond of blood. I paused, then slowly said, since Chloe is asking, we'll give you one more chance. The words had barely left my mouth when our butler, Mr. Wallace, hurried over. Sir, bad news. There's a woman at the gate who calls herself Linda. She insists on seeing you. Linda, Serafina's manager. The woman who had threatened and forced me out all those years ago. I felt nothing but contempt for her. Tell her to get lost. Mr. Wallace nodded. But the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Just then, a figure burst into the garden. Wyatt Hayes. How dare you hold our Serafina against her will? Believe it or not, we'll call the cops and have you arrested for kidnapping. Seeing Linda's arrogant posture extinguished the last spark of affection I had for Serafina. Serafina, I said coldly, take your dog and get out. Seeing me angry, Chloe pulled her hand away from Serafina's. Lady, you made my daddy mad. I don't like you anymore. That made me feel a little better. Serafina spun around and slapped Linda across the face. Linda, is that how you speak to my husband and my daughter? She glared at her. It seems I've been far too lenient with you over the years. She turned back to me, her expression pleading. Honey, are you still angry? Linda was practically shaking with rage. She pointed a finger at me. Serafina, he's nothing but dead weight. And you hit me for him. Linda couldn't understand what she'd done wrong. Forcing us to break up had been for Serafina's own good. The smile vanished from Serafina's lips. Dead weight, she hissed. Do you have any idea what I've been through? From the moment they left, I haven't had a single night of peaceful sleep. I wake up from nightmares every single night. She was determined to win us back. She had seen on the show just how wonderful her daughter was. And as for this unreliable father, she was going to whip him back into shape. Linda just sneered. Serafina, don't tell me you regret it now. You're just trying to shift all the blame onto us. You were the one who wanted the divorce. You were the one who said he and his daughter were a burden. Hearing Linda blur out the truth, I finally understood another piece of the puzzle. Back then, the label's resources were scarce, and Serafina was incredibly ambitious. I wasn't surprised she would think that way, but what I resented was that she couldn't just tell me to my face. No wonder the man I was before had chosen to leave. He was utterly disappointed in her. The memories flashed through my mind. I turned politely to the butler. Mr. Wallace, please escort these women out. Serafina tried to say something, but security guards had already arrived and were dragging her away. Her hysterical apologies echoed behind them. I'm sorry. I was wrong. After she was gone, I picked Chloe up. Chloe Bug, you're not mad at Daddy, are you? Chloe shook her head, but her big eyes darted around. Not mad at Daddy. Daddy is the best in the world. The ache in my heart lessened, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. After all, she was just a child back then. She hadn't experienced the pain I had. I tilted her head up to face me. Don't lie to me. Lying makes Daddy angry. Chloe broke into a smile. Sorry, Chloe lied. That's better, I said, smiling back. Okay, how about this? We'll give her 3 chances. If you can accept her by the end, we'll let her stay. Deal. Chloe nodded excitedly and held out her pinky to seal the deal. With Chloe and me back on the show, more and more people were captivated by her. That, combined with my super dad persona, made our ratings explode. The other 4 families on the show were sick with envy. Spencer Reed, whose popularity was a distant second, was practically having a meltdown. He called his brother, Harrison Reed. Bro, there's this father-daughter duo I need to deal with. You got any ideas? Spencer had invested a lot of time and money into this show. The #1 spot had to be his. He was counting on this opportunity to become a breakout star. Being overshadowed by a couple of nobodies was more than he could bear. His brother chuckled on the other end of the line. They're just a pair of nobodies. Just bribe one of the guest commentators to stir up some trouble. After hanging up, Spencer's confidence returned. He immediately made a call. After hanging up the phone, he was overjoyed. As Chloe and I stepped off the stage, the 2 special guest commentators on the panel began their attack. It's a sad state of affairs when a father like this is allowed on television. He's a father who doesn't lead by example. His own daughter is more competent than he is. I suggest the network blacklist this man immediately. A swarm of bots, paid for by Spencer, flooded the live chat with comments. Wyatt, get off the show. Everyone, let's cancel Wyatt Hayes. Chloe and I had built our fan base from scratch. It wasn't strong enough to withstand the onslaught. It quickly crumbled under the coordinated attack. That kid is no angel either. Like father, like daughter. In the control room, director Evans hesitated. If it were anyone but Wyatt, he might have let it slide. But this was the man Mark Thorne had recommended. He had to be extremely careful. Before he could make a call, his phone rang. It was Mark. Jackson, if you can't handle this, I will. Jackson nodded profusely. He wouldn't dare offend a powerhouse like Mark Thorne. He got on the headset and contacted the 2 guest commentators. But they had clearly been paid off and completely ignored him. This is ridiculous. Cut the live chat feed. Kill it now. The control room wouldn't interfere unless the situation was dire. The two commentators, oblivious, continued their tirade. A man like Wyatt Hayes doesn't deserve to be a father. Exactly. He should be kicked off the show. Suddenly, their monitors went black. The live stream had been cut. For a moment, the online audience was completely bewildered. Meanwhile, Chloe and I were starting today's challenge. Mission impossible. The 5 families had to choose different paths to reach the enchanted cottage. The team with the fastest time would win. The winners could then make the losing team do one thing they wanted. The cottage was brightly colored and visible from a distance. But the viewers in the live chat were skeptical. You think the producers would make it that easy? Dream on. Wyatt's like a seasoned pro at this. First sign of trouble, he's taking 3 steps back. Poor Chloe. It'd be one thing if she were competing alone, but she has to carry that dead weight with her. Although our stream had taken a hit, the production team's intervention quickly stabilized things. And thanks to Chloe's cleverness, we remained the #1 stream. But as we approached a path of wooden planks, we both stopped. Stretching before us were 7 or 8 narrow wooden boards laid across a gap. It didn't take a genius to figure out they were laid over traps. At the far end of the planks stood the enchanted cottage. Chloe frowned, a sight that made viewers in the chat exclaim, "Let me do it for her." Then, she suddenly brightened. Good thing I remember the little trick Daddy taught me. She pulled a handful of marbles from her pocket. As she rolled them across the wooden planks, they made different sounds, identifying the path by sound. The audience, who had been waiting to see Chloe fail, erupted. Whoa, is Chloe really that amazing? She's only 5. I was waiting to see how many times this pair would fall, but they figured it out so easily. I bet the production team is freaking out. They set up all those traps for nothing. LOL. Wait, did you guys hear Chloe say her daddy taught her that? I shook my head. Chloe was still thinking too simply. The producers weren't that stupid. Sure enough, in the next second, a plank gave way and Chloe started to fall. I moved in a flash, snatching her out of the air. But a glimpse into the pit below made my skin crawl. The deep pit was filled with a writhing mass of venomous snakes, their tongues flicking in and out. The viewers in the live stream gasped, screaming that it was impossible. In the control room, Jackson Evans's heart hammered against his ribs. He scrambled from his chair and ran toward our location like his life depended on it. The show's viewership surged, but it was all negative traffic, nearly crashing the network's official social media accounts. Because we were filming, our phones had been confiscated. But that didn't stop me. I had a staff member call 911. By the time Jackson arrived, all he saw was the ambulance speeding away. He gritted his teeth. The show is temporarily suspended. Everyone, go home for now. With that, he flagged down a car and raced to the hospital. When the ambulance arrived, I had the hospital director paged immediately. After a thorough examination, it turned out Chloe had only suffered minor scrapes. She just needed a few days of rest. A massive weight lifted off my chest. As I was taking her back to her room, I spotted a familiar figure down the hall. Chloe's face fell. Isn't that Mommy? Why is she all friendly with that other man? I put a hand over her mouth, and we quietly ducked behind a pillar. From there, we could clearly hear Serafina's conversation. Harrison, let go of me. I need to see my daughter. Sarah, if you go now, it won't do any good. You have to wait until they're desperate, then make your appearance. Why? That way, they'll be grateful to you. They'll see you as their savior. From the corner of my eye, I could see the smug look on Harrison Reed's face. My daughter looked at me, ready to leave. I held her back. Let's wait a little longer, I whispered. Let's see what she chooses to do. To my surprise, she actually listened to Harrison, waiting a long while before finally heading toward the emergency room. Watching her retreating back, my daughter said, each word sharp and clear, Mommy, you just lost one of your chances. I took Chloe back to her private room. Half an hour later, Serafina burst in, looking frantic. Chloe, Mommy's late. Hearing her choked cry, neither Chloe nor I felt anything. Chloe looked up, her expression serious. Lady, I promised Daddy I'd give you 3 chances. You just used one of them. Serafina was stunned, then launched into a flurry of excuses. The words coming out of her mouth were the exact ones we'd heard Harrison say. I picked up my phone and tossed it to her. If my daughter and I hadn't been there to see it ourselves, we might have actually fallen for your performance. She gingerly took the phone. One look at the screen, and her heart went cold. It was a video of her conversation with Harrison. She scrambled to explain. It's not like that. Harrison, who had followed her in, grabbed her hand. He gave me a meaningful look. Sarah, you can't be nice to people like this. Otherwise, they'll walk all over you. Chloe immediately shot back. That's not true. Harrison smirked. Isn't it? You're only on this show to get Serafina's attention. Don't think I don't know your game. You're just trying to leech off of her. He then produced a property deed, holding it up with a sneer. And that villa you're living in? You're not even the owner. Seeing Mark Thorne printed on the deed, I couldn't help but laugh. I had wanted to buy the estate myself, but Mark had insisted on gifting it to me. I hadn't bothered with the final paperwork to transfer the title. I never imagined Harrison would use this loophole against me. Wyatt, how could you lie? Serafina said, her tone serious. You'll be a bad influence on Chloe. With Harrison backing her up, Serafina began to belittle me. He wanted to crush me completely, to make Serafina so disappointed in me that she would belong only to him. He made his move, turning to Serafina with a placating tone. Really, you can't blame Wyatt. After all, what man doesn't want to save face? Just as I was about to respond to Harrison's smug expression, a voice from behind cut me off. He's not the owner of the villa, but he's about to be. Seeing the newcomer, Chloe ran straight to him. Uncle Mark, I missed you so much. The murderous look on Mark Thorne's face vanished the moment he saw Chloe. Chloe Bug, Uncle Mark missed you too. I brought you a truck full of toys. When a massive semi-truck pulled up to the hospital entrance, onlookers stared in disbelief. There must be tens of thousands of stuffed animals in there. That dad must really spoil his kid. This is just on another level. Money, money, money. Harrison's face soured. This was a direct and humiliating slap in the face. He had spent a fortune trying to shame me, only to have Mark Thorne show up out of nowhere. Mark was a major player in the entertainment industry, a capital investor whose company was leagues above his own, Stellar Entertainment. More importantly, Mark was notoriously elusive. Harrison had only ever seen him once from a distance. And now, it was clear that Mark was very close with his father and daughter. He started to panic. I ignored him and walked straight to Serafina. Lying? You take Harrison's word for it, decide my daughter and I are liars, and just stand by and watch? You don't even give us a chance to explain. It seems Harrison's place in your life is more important than ours. The people around us began to murmur their disapproval of her. Even Chloe's smile faded. Serafina finally realized her mistake. She grabbed my hand, apologizing. I'm sorry, Wyatt. I was wrong. I should have trusted you. I shook her off. You have one chance left. Chloe walked over and helped her up. Lady, you'd better not mess up again, or else me and Daddy will never forgive you. Serafina froze, a look of panic and anxiety flashing in her eyes. She only had one chance left. If she failed, she might never see her daughter again. A moment later, she posted an announcement online. Effective immediately, Serafina Vance is retiring from the entertainment industry. Her phone immediately rang. It was her manager. Sarah, are you crazy? Do you know what retiring means? All your years of hard work will be for nothing. Harrison also tried to reason with her. Sarah, why don't you think this over? Serafina's voice was firm. There's nothing to think about. And you, don't ever come looking for me again. I quickly understood Serafina's strategy. It was a calculated retreat, meant to be a grand gesture. But she had made a terrible miscalculation. Harrison still wanted me to try and talk sense into Serafina. I answered him flatly. What's it got to do with me? Harrison, this is between me and my husband. It doesn't require your interference. Serafina cut in sharply. And another thing, did you really think I didn't know you were trying to drive a wedge between us? Harrison grew flustered. Sarah, how could you think that of me? Before he could finish, I picked up Chloe and walked away. Honey, wait for me. Serafina called out, a faint smile on her lips as she hurried after us. I didn't expect Serafina to actually follow us. And from the looks of it, she was planning on sticking around. This was not good. Was she really ready to throw her career away? She caught my backward glance, her expression complicated. I've already lost you once, she said. I'm not letting go again. I looked at her, surprised. I hope so. Let's just hope this isn't another one of your fleeting whims. Wyatt, seeing her familiar silhouette, Serafina was transported back in time. When they were together, she never had to worry about a thing. It was the happiest time of her life. But then her career took off, and the joy disappeared. It had only been a few years, but he still seemed just as capable as ever. I hadn't expected her to stare at me for so long. It was like we were back in our old apartment, with her leaning against the kitchen doorframe, watching me cook, practically drooling. But what was lost. There was no going back. I prepared a 5-course meal. The aroma alone was enough to bring Chloe running. Daddy, it smells so good. I picked her up and planted a soft kiss on her cheek. After Chloe was born, Serafina had barely been involved. As a result, she had been weaker than other kids her age. The strong, healthy girl she was today was a product of years of carefully prepared, nutritious meals. Chloe Bug, go wash your hands with the lady. Dinner will be ready in a minute. But I was wrong. Serafina didn't just stay for dinner. She moved in, completely ignoring her work obligations. Mark finalized the transfer of the villa's deed, stayed for 3 days, and then took off on a vacation. As for getting revenge on Chloe's behalf, I was already working on it. Before I could make my move, however, the firestorm surrounding Serafina reached our doorstep. Chloe handed me her tablet. The top trending topics were all about her mother. Hashtag Serafina Vance retires. Hashtag Serafina Vance secret child. Hashtag Serafina Vance breaks with label faces massive lawsuit. Only an insider could have leaked this kind of private information. Stellar Entertainment. Serafina's manager, Linda. Serafina stood up. Don't worry. This is my mess. I'll handle it. It won't affect you and Chloe. I looked at her, exasperated. You're living here 24/7. We've been exposed for days. I shook my head just as my phone rang. Director Evans. There was a moment of silence on the other end, then a resolute voice. Wyatt, don't you worry. This time, I'm on your side. I gave a non-committal grunt, not quite understanding what he meant. Mr. Wallace handed me a tablet. On the screen was an official statement from the reality show. Effective immediately, Prodigy Parents has terminated all cooperation with Spencer Reed. We are fully cooperating with the police in their investigation of his illegal activities. Below, it was a personal statement from Jackson Evans. Furthermore, I personally declare that I will no longer engage in any cooperative ventures with Stellar Entertainment. Seeing this, Serafina's eyes sparkled, but an insistent knock at the door made her heart clench. The security guard reported that people from Stellar Entertainment were here. I didn't want to deal with them, but I followed Serafina to the door. Serafina, have you thought it over? It was Harrison Reed. If you want to terminate your contract now, you'll have to pay the company at least $50 million in damages. Serafina was aghast. $50 million? Why don't you just rob a bank? I haven't even earned that much in all the years I've worked my butt off for the company. Well, that's simple, Harrison said smoothly. Just come back to the company. After all, your contract is up in 5 years anyway. Tears welled up in Serafina's eyes. She looked at Chloe, then turned to me. I can't drag you into this, she said earnestly. You and Chloe should go. Seeing Serafina cry made Chloe's eyes moisten. At that moment, I knew I couldn't stay on the sidelines any longer. Harrison, who do you think you're scaring? Harrison sneered, then roared at me. Wyatt, don't think you're hot stuff just because you have Mark Thorne backing you. Stellar is backed by Dragonfire Media. That's not something a washed-up nobody like you can go up against. Stellar CEO, a man named Holman, leered at Serafina. There might be a way out of the contract. All you have to do is sleep with me once a month. The next second, he was clutching his mouth, staring in disbelief at the blood on his hand. Pathetic, I said. You think being backed by Dragonfire makes you untouchable? Funny, I happen to know their CEO. With that, I dialed his number. After I explained the situation, the voice on the other end was practically spitting fire. Harrison scoffed. You're bluffing. I didn't answer. A moment later, CEO Holman, having just finished a call, went pale. He spun around and slapped Harrison across the face. Thanks to you, he screamed. My company is going bankrupt. Sure enough, a few minutes later, the police arrived and arrested him. At the same time, Harrison got a call from his brother, Spencer. In that instant, he finally understood the extent of my power. Thump! He dropped to his knees, begging. Wyatt, Mr. Hayes, please give me another chance. I was done with him. I slapped him hard across the face. You should have thought about the consequences when you decided to provoke me. Harrison grabbed onto Serafina's leg, pleading for his life. Sarah, save me. I worked my ass off to help you become a superstar. Serafina's eyes were cold. Chloe said disdainfully, Keep digging your own grave, lady. Slap. Harrison stared at Serafina in disbelief. Sarah, you hit me too? Serafina raised an eyebrow. You think I don't know about all the disgusting things you've done? The number of women you've slept with over the years? Your reputation is in the gutter. You were just trying to latch onto me to extend your own miserable career, weren't you? She pulled out her phone and displayed a file full of evidence of his crimes. This time, no one could save him. The police returned and took him away. Director Evans showed up at our door with a lavish gift. This time, I received him properly. An investigation had revealed that the incident on set had little to do with him. It was all Harrison's idea, with Spencer bribing the commentators and crew members. Jackson had personally seen to it that all of them ended up in the hospital. But it was still the show's negligence that had caused my daughter psychological trauma. So I refused his offer to return. To my surprise, I saw a flash of disappointment on Chloe's face. Serafina approached me later. Honey, Chloe wants to go back, she said seriously. She wants to get back up where she fell. I looked at Chloe. She said flatly, "Don't listen to her, Daddy." I never said that. I gently stroked her cheek and took a deep breath. All right, that's enough with the lady stuff. You can call her whatever you want. As for the show, I'll agree to go back, but from now on, you have to listen to me. Jackson left overjoyed. I took my daughter back to the show. The only difference was, this time, there was one more person with us, Serafina. She seemed to have genuinely changed. She followed Chloe around like a student, learning how to cook. Serafina understood that I had no intention of remarrying her. If she wanted to achieve her goal, she had to play the long game. One wrong move, and it was all over. The first hurdle was figuring out how to win me over. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But having never cooked a day in her life, she had to start from scratch. I saw her effort. Unfortunately, the food she made was truly inedible. Chloe, you're a growing girl. You need your nutrition. Eat up. Daddy, this is Mommy's love for you. I couldn't possibly steal your thunder. We both put our forks down at the same time. How about we order takeout? Sounds good to me. At our words, Serafina's eyes filled with tears. We had no choice but to pick up our forks and return to our seats. One day, during filming, a crew member suddenly rushed toward Chloe. I, who had been lounging on a chair, instantly moved to shield her. In that critical moment, a figure darted in front of me. A knife plunged into her stomach. I kicked out, subduing the attacker. Tearing off his mask, I saw it was Spencer Reed. Jackson and his security team rushed over and restrained him. "Honey, I'm dying," Serafina gasped. "Can you call me wife just once?" I frowned, my hands hovering over her wound. There was no blood. I immediately understood. I had been tricked again. She was wearing a Kevlar vest, strong enough to stop a knife. However, seeing the genuine fearlessness in her eyes as she had thrown herself in front of me, I softened. "Get up," I said quietly. "I forgive you, but don't lie to me again." Tears of joy streamed down Serafina's face. She turned to the handcuffed Spencer Reed and said, "Thank you." In my arms, my daughter, Chloe, couldn't stop laughing. The end.